intimidating.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just say, Dr. Tapp is one of my constituents. Thank you for being here. Relax, it's no big deal.
Just pretend like you're talking to Senator Kershaw, Senator Shaheen.
It was easier to talk to you on the phone the other day, but thank you. I'm Dr. Bethany Tapp. I own a small animal practice in Terrell, South Carolina, the only animal hospital in Chesterfield County. I spoke at the fact-finding forum in Florence and submitted documents citing 54 specific cases that I suspected practicing veterinary medicine without a license, malpractice, animal suffering in dogs and cats. I feel that these cases are really the crux of this bill. Animal welfare, animal suffering, and we can even add on animal health when we talk about zoonotic diseases. I submitted all 54 of those cases to LLR and was told by the investigator that since those animals were under the care of the shelter or the rescue, they are considered the property of the shelter and rescue. As such, the shelter or rescue can do anything they want with their property as long as it didn't cross the line of animal cruelty. And I realize that contradicts what someone said here earlier. I had an investigator vaguely sitting in front of me telling me that, okay? I watched a puppy drown from fluids administered by a rescue person, not a veterinarian, a rescue person. They administered too many fluids, and it was the wrong type. There was nothing I could do but watch this puppy die. The underlying cause of the dehydration had not even been addressed. That puppy died within 2 hours of presentation, and I'll never forget that little black lab. I had a woman bring in a 65-pound husky to me, about 7 days after a $75 spay at a low-cost spay-neuter clinic. The dog had a very high fever, was lethargic and coughing. I suspected pneumonia from the trach tube. I called the clinic to see if they would help this client since she had no more money. They said they had no record of a pre-surgical exam. No lab work had been offered to her or performed because they don't have that capability at that low-cost clinic. They told me no, they would not see her back. They don't have any medicine on their shelves to dispense at that low-cost spay-neuter clinic. I gave the woman 4 weeks of antibiotics free of charge. I have no idea the outcome of that case. I've seen numerous dogs and puppies with abscesses from improper injection technique after vaccinating. I've seen overdosing, underdosing, misdiagnosing, treating skin allergies with mite medications. Private citizens have no idea what the difference is between minimum, adequate, and standard or exceptional care for their pet. Pet owners seek a cheaper option, expecting the same results. Pet owners don't know the difference between DHPP and DHPP-CVL, other than the cost. Those extra letters represent coronavirus and leptovirus, a zoonotic disease, something that we can catch. And they are vaccine options, they're not required. Pet owners are being misled with regard to their pet's welfare, medical, surgical, and vaccine options. They're misled through a lack of information, educational materials provided by their cheaper avenues. Private practices are bound to the rules and regulations set forth by the Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners, including informed consent and informed declination. Private practices cannot accept public donations or government grants to defray the cost of business. Private practices have to pay taxes on employees, buildings, supplies, and the cost of doing business. Private practices do not have access to lower cost supplies since they are not nonprofit groups. Private practices are required to keep accurate records on all cases and keep them accessible for a number of years. We don't submit them, they just have to be available. Private practices are struggling to keep up to compete with nonprofit groups. These groups should be in areas not already supported by private practice. Why does a nonprofit mobile practice set up only in one location in Chesterfield County, only 5 miles from my practice? They don't set up in Pageland or Ruby or McBee, just in Terrell, 5 miles from my practice. Since my graduation, I've watched veterinary medicine soar and even lead human medicine with regards to diagnostics, surgical techniques, vaccine preventive care, and medications. Over the last 4 to 6 years, the medicine has been dumbed down by shelters, rescue groups, and nonprofits to an unbelievably basic level. We have gone from ECG, carbon dioxide, blood pressure, oxygen monitoring, lasers, the safest gas anesthetics on the market for spays and neuters, back to injectable only, cheapest, oldest drugs on the market, no monitoring, the quicker the better, line them up and stack them up when we're done. We as veterinarians are allowing non-veterinarians to dictate the quality of our work and our profession at the expense of private citizens and most importantly, innocent animals. I have seen a decline in my practice over the last 6 years. I can directly relate it to the nonprofit groups performing well on preventive procedures. What am I going to do when they start seeing sick patients? I'll likely have to find a different line of veterinary medicine to enter. The direction we're headed is not sustainable for a rural single doctor veterinary practice. The citizens of Chesterfield County may have to depend on the local shelter and bi-monthly mobile nonprofit van to provide animal care. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Senator Kershaw.
Tab, again, thank you for coming, and thank you for providing veterinary care in Chesterfield County as well.